It has been a while since this girl sat down with me, and I am just tickled to death to see her one more time. Miss Ginger, East, but I still Ginger East, and Eddie. Good morning.
Yeah.
How you doing?
I'm good.
I'm just flustered.
I'm just so glad to see you. You look great, and
You do too.
you hadn't changed a bit. So I want to know what elixir you drinking over there.
It's a wild turkey. 101, thank you. But golly, you came out here for years, and I know you're proud of Tal, probate judge of Tallapoosa County.
I am.
He is so thorough, and I've seen him since day one, and even before Ginger when he went into office. This is something he loves doing.
Kenny, the East Moran families have a history of service to Tallapoosa County, and of all my children, Tal being the oldest.
Right.
He was raised with that history.
Yeah.
He was raised with his grandparents and even great-grandparents, and hearing about those things of whether it's driving a school bus or teaching school or working like Pop East to bring electricity to rural Tallapoosa County with REA or grading roads, Granddaddy, and he lived that history with them, and hearing those stories about his family and service and being of service to Tallapoosa County.
His great-grandparent, who are you talking about there?
Okay, well, his Carl Moran was his great-grandparent.
Yeah.
That was a road commissioner
right.
or Tallapoosa County commissioner for 17 years. And then his great-granddaddy, Talmadge East, his namesake, drove the school bus and worked with REA to bring electricity to rural Tallapoosa County. And I'm
getting an education right now.
And then you get Tal's dad, who was worked with EMS and volunteer fire departments all his life.
So he's pulled from all of that.
And then my grandmother was a teacher.
Right.
My mother, both aunts.
And you?
And myself. I still substitute some.
Really?
Yes.
Really? I'll be darned.
My first love was teaching, and I love it, so I still do it some.
I was sitting in Mass yesterday, and I noticed this family several pews up from me, and I noticed that there was a dad, a granddad, and a great-granddad, and you don't see that very often. I think, wow, that's special.
I mean, it really is special, and so, that was one of the benefits of staying home and working in Tallapoosa County is my children got to be around those great-grandparents and grandparents and hear those stories and of their family and of Tallapoosa County history and how important it was very important in their lives.
Work ethic. They started
Exactly. When you're raised on a farm, you learn. I heard you talking to Ellen, and she was talking about milking a cow. When you're raised on a farm, you learn work ethic. You don't, have much choice about that.
I'm glad I didn't learn work ethic.
Kenny.
I was a lazy child. I'm a 69-year-old lazy.
But I heard you say how much you liked school.
Well, I did.
And that you were even in the Future Teachers Association. I heard that. That made an impact on me coming down the road.
But let me take that impact away from you, because I was in it because I was wanting to get out of class for everything I could. I don't even know if they have all those. Have you seen a big change in education over the last 10, 20 years?
Oh, sure.
In Alabama?
Sure. I mean,
computers?
There's, I'm old school.
Sure.
And computers have their place as a tool. But nothing I think we have seen, if there has been one thing to show us for us to learn from COVID, that a computer is not going to take the place of the classroom teacher.
I agree with you.
I mean, when I go and substitute now, the students are so far behind because we had to shut school down off and on for the last 2 years. But anyway, let me get talking about history, Kenny.
She knows me. If I don't hush my mouth about talking about, I'm catching up with a girl right now. But you got a lot of history to talk about.
Yeah, I've got two pictures. Okay. One of Daviston Baptist Church, Ryan has them. He's going to show them for us. And one of a homecoming in 1950. That's the church.
That's a beautiful church.
And it was established in 1842.
Wow.
We will be celebrating our 180th homecoming.
Wow.
April 24th.
Unbelievable.
And,
Tell me some history on this church right here, Miss Ginger.
well,
I love old churches.
1842 is old. It's old, like Alex City is celebrating its
150th.
150th. Well,
20 years before the Civil War.
Yeah, this is 1842 when this church was established. And what you don't realize sometimes is Alabama was settled east to west. Most of Alabama and the settlers that first came here were coming from Georgia.
Okay.
And see, Daviston is in the northeast corner
Right.
of Tallapoosa County.
ma'am.
When they opened Indian lands in 1832, Daviston was a hub of migration coming through to those Indian lands from Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
We had 6 saloons. Yeah. We had a pharmacy, a doctor, several stores, a grist mill, a sawmill, a buggy shop.
A buggy shop.
A buggy shop.
Really?
So, the oldest part of Tallapoosa County very likely came right through Daviston in that area because of the Indian lands being opened in 1832. The first deed for the Daviston area is 1836.
So, Ginger, was that kind of like Goldville in its heyday?
Well, yeah, but Goldville came later. Like I said, it was settled east to west.
Wow. This is cool
And
history. Rich.
Lots. We want everyone to come out and help us celebrate this 180th homecoming. If he'll show the other picture,
Yeah.
you'll show how many people
Oh,
are there
my.
in 1950 for that dinner on the ground and homecoming services there at Daviston Baptist Church. That was in the 1950s.
Ginger, let me just tell folks, if you've never been to a dinner on the ground, you don't know what you're missing.
No.
You really don't know what you're missing. I've been fortunate, being born in a couple of years after this in 1952, to go to many dinner on the grounds at Flint Hill, and there just wasn't anything like it. That's an understatement.
It's
too.
a celebration
Yeah.
and a fellowship time, and of course, worshiping and lifting up our Savior. We just saw a miracle with a young child birth in here. There's not anything greater than that.
Yeah, we got a lot more to talk about, so don't go anywhere. Me and Miss Ginger will be right back. Out here with a very, very, very special guest, Miss Ginger Burton, with us out here talking about the Davidson Church 180th celebration coming up. Again, the date and time on that.
April 24th, services start at 10. We've got a gospel group coming to sing at 10 called All for Him. And then Benny Yates will be the guest pastor that'll be coming and preaching service at 11. And, of course, then we have dinner afterwards, as we showed the dinner on the ground earlier, but we'll have dinner afterwards. I'll be doing homemade lemonade in memory of my husband, Tim East. And I'll make sure I make a banana pudding, too. So anyone who has ties to Daviston community, we'd love for you to come out and share with us and enjoy the fellowship and the time. And just wanted to make sure people were aware. 180th, the church was founded in 1842.
I want to send out a special invitation to two brothers, Brad Tucker and his little brother, Andy Tucker.
I would love to have them both.
said they went there.
Yes. I can remember Brad and Andy both there. That tells my age. So we would love to have them.
I'll be darned. This is a special celebration. You know what I'm talking about. Since 1842, there were so many lives saved. There were so many lives lost in all that time.
Yes,
I can't imagine.
you had Horseshoe Bend and
Yeah.
the Battle of Horseshoe
Yeah.
Bend,
Wow.
but the federal government didn't really open those Indian federal lands till I think it was 1832. So then you got a huge influx of, I say huge, but an influx of settlers coming from Georgia to Alabama, and many of them came through Daviston because we're on the eastern Georgia side of
Sitting
Tallapoosa
down with
County.
you and listening to you, I'm getting such a historic education, but that's what you do.
Oh, well, I love teaching. You know,
Yeah.
it was my first love.
Yeah.
Like I said, I still substitute, and I do it because I love being around the kids. Keeps me energetic.
Yeah, it keeps you. And I
Yeah.
see that.
So But
What keeps you so small? I mean,
oh God, not small. I love to eat. I'm fixing to eat this next Sunday, at Easter Sunday, and then homecoming Sunday. Hush your mouth. But thanks, I need to come see you more often.
Let me tell you something. I'm gonna go back to dinner on the grounds. You're there for the service.
Oh, you're there for the service.
Number one.
Yes.
But also with this pandemic we've been through, that in our lifetime we've never had to go through anything like this, Ginger.
Awful.
And we're coming out of it.
And I see it so much with older people that had to be shut in and didn't have any social contact because of this. And it was just so, I saw so many go down during that period. We don't realize, we take it for granted how important that social contact is, and that just human touch of staying in touch and human conversation and talking and in this case in church, fellowshipping together and remembering what's really important.
I think about me and you both with this right here. People are our... That's what we thrive off of.
Oh, I love it.
And I feel for those older people that didn't get, they were used to being around people, and all of a sudden...
Couldn't even feel like they could come to church and be safe.
No. And there was a lot of churches that didn't.
Oh, I know.
We'd never been through a pandemic. We didn't know how to handle that.
I didn't. I was going nuts.
People are and now to go and to see and to feel and touch and hug and have eye contact with people, and I know a lot. We mentioned this earlier. We talked about it earlier. People are some are still wearing their masks. That's okay.
That's okay.
That's your decision. But you don't have to anymore.
Oh, it's just like.
Do you think a lot of us, and I wore it just because I wanted to be protective, or not for me, but for other folks.
people.
But I think a lot of folks just regretted because we were told we had to wear a mask.
Oh,
Get over it.
That's that goes against our Southern independence,
You're right,
to
you're
where
right.
we're thinking,
You're
you're
right.
not going to tell me what to do. I know. Some things change, and then some things just don't change.
You reminded me just then, and I'm not saying you're old, but you reminded me of my grandmother. She was my small town, and she was 90-something years old.
He's trying to say I'm old.
No, but this is what I went to visit her at Chapman Nursing Home, and she had been used to being by herself all these years, or not being in a nursing home. I went down there and said, "Hey, Mama." She said, she didn't have her teeth in. She said, "You got to get me out of here." And I said, and one of the nurses said, "Miss Tannen," said, "We go, it's going to be okay. So we go be this Sunday, we go have folks come in here and sing." She said, "I ain't going to be here Sunday." And this little lady had always been just real meek and just as sweet. And I'm thinking, wow, she ain't liking this at all. But it was the same thing with us with masks. We didn't like to be told, but hopefully we've gotten through this pandemic, and we had so. I guess I'll go back to 1842 with the Davidson Church. We had so many lives that's been lost, and we lost a lot of friends and during this pandemic too.
Oh, I know.
We weren't expecting that.
Yes.
Healthy people.
Yeah, I know. I would be remiss if I didn't also say, even Rocky Mount Primitive Baptist Church is also in Davidson. It was founded in 1837.
Wow.
And they do Sacred Harp singing.
Right.
Their homecoming is May 22nd. They still have services. I'll be making homemade lemonade in memory of my granddaddy Carl Moran for that service, because that's where they attended, and he made it for many, many years. But they just have a singing, Sacred Harp singing, shape note singing. May 22nd on Sunday. It starts at 10, and they their homecoming is in May. So it is and it was founded in 1837.
1837. I'm not sure, because we've had several folks come on, because there's a lot of older churches around here, which I just absolutely love.
I don't know of one older than that still has services.
I was telling my daughter yesterday about when as a child we used to travel a lot, which I'm glad that I was able to do that all over the United States. But when it came Sunday, Wilmerdine was going to stop at a church somewhere. But I remember those older churches in Iowa, somewhere like that.
Well, there's a history lesson just out in the cemetery at Daviston Baptist and at Rocky Mount.
Yeah.
You see just, you recognize the names.
Right,
You may not remember them, but you recognize the names. And
You
there are
know,
a lot of older graves in
and
both cemeteries.
A lot of young folks will go to those grave sites. They're fixing to have a child to see maybe where a name, to trying to keep a name, a family name in the in there.
Daviston has a real long, rich history. Like I said, much of the area was settled east to west, so it's quite old. And that first deed was 1836. They opened the Indian lands in 1832. But we also have a Daviston museum. Ray and Elaine Dunn maintain it.
Okay.
And it's open by appointment. Just call them; they'll be glad to open it up for you, and you can see some of that pictures and some of that history. And it would be good. I'm going to try to make sure I talk to them if they could have it open the day of our homecoming celebration and the 180th. So I hope so. But
Six
it's
saloons.
really 6 saloons.
Wow. Hey,
But we had to have a church to go along with it.
Hey, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back and wrap it up. This is part of the show that always makes me sad, is at the very end, because I've enjoyed the heck out of having everybody out here, but especially my friend, Miss Ginger Burton, for many, many years. God.
Thank you for having me, Kenny. It's been fun.
Well,
I resisted getting up
Thanks,
bright
Tal.
and early, and Talmadge Lyman says, "Mama, you will go. The church needs you to get on the TV. Go tell them about it."
He did.
So
Well,
anyway, sometimes you're surprised what your kids will talk you into doing.
Well, Tal, you do.
But it's been great.
You got my vote again, so thank you for getting Mom out here. Hey, folks, thank y'all for being with us today. It's going to be a beautiful day. Get out and enjoy it. We'll see you back out here early in the morning.
Life's too short for bad appliances.